Everything's good? Sounds great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let's do this, guys. All right, it's super cool to have all of you here. I'm just going to talk right over here real quick to the camera to let everybody know. Welcome back to DisInfo Watch. It's an original production of Refocus Media Labs, and today we have a really special opportunity to talk to members of our community here, media creators that work in our Athens lab. And if you're not aware of it, today we are airing this episode in conjunction with World Refugee Day. Sometimes people celebrate it as World Refugee Week. And earlier this week, we were having some interviews with some students on the street and some other people in Athens. And someone said, why is there a day when we know that all the NGOs do this work every day of the week? So it's not really a day or a week, it's 365. And we are luckily blessed with the presence of that gentleman, Stavros, who is here to my left. So thanks for that wonderful commentary, because it's true. And today what we'd like to do is kind of bring those stories that we had from the street interviews into the studio and ask you some more extra questions and give our audiences an opportunity to also figure out what the hell is going on in the world when it comes to refugees and misinformation. So I'm going to introduce everybody very quickly. So to my right is Nicole, one of our students. You can say hi, whatever you'd like to say.
Hi.
Across from me is Ziad. You can introduce yourself as well.
Yep. I'm Ziad. I'm in a refocus from kind of like 1 year, almost. I'm working in IT domain, and I like photography and filming, and this is what pushed me to join like a refocus.
Great.
Like a studio. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're always happy to have you, and soon your year anniversary. Nico, you've been with us for a little bit longer than a year now, and we're happy to have you back. So, and gentlemen to my left, Stavros and Lionel, you want to say hi one at a time since you're sharing the mic?
Hi, I'm Stavros. I'm working in the marketing industry and photography, and I'm here to focus from the previous year, the end of the previous year, just a little bit after the lessons had started.
Great.
Hi, I'm Lionel. I'm from Cameroon. I attend Refocus now. It's going 1 year. I'm happy to be here, and I'm ready, and I want to learn more than in photography to be a professional tomorrow in the future, maybe.
Great. That's our goal, is to make sure you all have the future careers you'd like to have. And the same thing goes for all the people who are on the move, trying to seek asylum and get their protections, dealing with a lot of problems in their own countries. And recently, just a couple of days ago actually, the UNHCR, which is this United Nations body that really deals with the mandate to support refugees and people who are seeking asylum and protections, they came out with their 2024 numbers. And I got lost. I went down the rabbit hole with this interactive charts and these maps and finding out how you can customize the data. And I came up with a ton of questions for you guys to see what you know, mainly because I think we'd all be shocked at the real numbers. We'd not be shocked at the real information based off of the type of media that we normally see. And so the show that you're on right now, if you're not aware, is called DisInfo Watch, disinformation. And it's really about how the media is leading people to believe things that are not true. Sometimes that's from politicians, sometimes it's from media personalities, sometimes it's from people who have certain agendas and are very aggressively against certain people, and they're trying to change people's ideas and perceptions. And we want to kind of break it back down to the truth. So all of the questions that we're going to ask today are based off of the information that came out of this report. And so the numbers that we'll share with everybody and with the audience is really related to what is really happening based off of their extensive data and research. And I'd also like to give a quick little note to clarify that this is only based off of the information that they have inside their mandate, meaning what they have access to, what's been reported to them, what people have come to their particular spaces where they work. So imagine all these numbers are slightly higher. than they really are, because there's a lot of unreported information that is just not included in their data. But their data is kind of unbelievable. So we're going to pick this apart, and we're going to spend a lot of time on our social media in these coming weeks to try to get everybody to, you know, see this for what it's really going on, as opposed to what you see on social media or on news reports, depending on where you're listening to your news. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a little game. It's called Quizzo, where I come from, or if you live in Ireland and you go to the pub on a Friday night, they will ask you a lot of trivia, and they'll give you some prize at the end if you have the most points. And so we're just going to have a kind of little spitfire back and forth. I'll ask you a couple of questions. We'll see. I'll try to diversify the questions to everybody in a way to make sure that everyone's answered the same number of questions, and then we'll see how many points you score. Okay? Cool?
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So first question is going to go to Nicole, and we're going to ask you, how many refugees do you think there are in the entire world right now, as of 2024 data? Total number.
I don't know, maybe 3 milliards.
Okay, so total refugees
4
worldwide,
billions, like,
3 million.
no, billion.
Billion.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
you
a
really
fact.
went high. Awesome. Okay, so you recognize that there's a problem, right? right.
It's not a problem, but yeah, it's not good because of problems. People left from countries, and yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna see. We'll check it back later to see if you're correct on your answer.
I
Right.
think no.
Let's shift over to Lionel. We're just gonna go around the circle. How many asylum seekers, people who are claiming asylum, coming for protections, who are not yet a refugee, they don't have that special status yet, how many asylum seekers are there in the world?
Thank you to ask me this question. I think in the world by now we have almost 5 million seeker asylum in the world.
So 5 million.
Yes.
Okay. So going along with these same numbers, refugee, for the audience, if you're not aware, a refugee is someone who has received protection and is now allowed to live in a country of that protection, and they have certain protections and status, and they're not still waiting for an answer. An asylum seeker is someone who still hasn't gotten an answer yet, and they may be rejected, they may appeal that rejection, they may get rejected again, or they may be approved after they try. So their status is yet to be determined, and so these numbers are different, but they kind of get lumped together in the headlines in an uncomfortable way, and people spin the numbers in different directions. So we wanted to clarify the difference between the two. And then there's also a different group of people. And so Stavros, I'm going to ask you this question. How many forcibly displaced people are there in the world? And that just means that, in case you're not aware, that just means that they are not allowed, or they can't, or they don't feel that it's safe for them to stay where they were living before a certain situation started. So forcibly displaced doesn't mean that they left their country yet. It just means that they're not where they were living the day before, per se. So how many worldwide do you think?
10 million.
10. Okay. So we'll say forcibly displaced. 10 million. And Ziad, for you, your big number ticket question is going to be, how many internally displaced people are there worldwide? And that's the people who left their country. Sorry, I'll correct myself. They left their home, but they did not leave their country. So they're somewhere inside the borders of their original country, but they're not where they were living before the problem. How many worldwide?
If we want to collect all the countries, right? Not like
Yeah.
maybe I think around 100 million.
All right, so this is what you may hear in the news as an IDP, an internally displaced person. And so your numbers were 100 million for that one. And so we'll call this the end of the, and I'm going to give a question, and everybody can give their own answer for this, and we'll see who possibly gets like a bonus point here. Let's say, okay, which country in the world today, right now, has the most people claiming asylum, like asking for protections? Which country in the world?
Germany.
All right, Lionel says Germany. Nicole, what do you say? Basically, to rephrase the question, where is everybody going? Where are they going to ask for the protection? Sort of like, where do they want to stay?
Norvegia. Countries.
Mhm.
Cool. Norvegia, Germany, Greece, and I don't know. Now I will think. Italy, Spain.
So you've got a lot on your list. Which one do you think has the highest number?
I know for Ukrainian guys, we're going like Polsha, Poland, and Italy. I don't know.
So Poland, if it's just Ukrainians, but what about all the people in the world? Which country do you think has the highest number? It could be any of the countries you mentioned. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're not. Who knows?
I don't know. Germany.
Okay, so we got 2 votes for Germany. Stavros, what do you think?
I really have no idea. Consider the geolocation. I would say Greece.
All right.
Because it's a pass to Europe and it's borders from
Yeah,
Europe to Asia and Africa as well.
Same way you answered the other day on the street interview, you were forcibly Greece, right? You were very confident it was Greece. What about you, Ziad?
I think Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
Ooh, going for the cold. All right. So let's do a quick recap in round 1. And the real answers for the first question that I asked Nicole about how many refugees are there worldwide, the answer is 31 million.
31 million.
31. And again, remember, these numbers are based off the UNHCR report for 2024. So 31 million by the end of their data collection. So 3 billion, a little high, but I think you are
Yeah.
in the right direction, unfortunately, because I remember when Sonia and I first started doing this work 10 years ago, the number was half what it is today. So it is really growing exponentially, and I do believe that a lot of people believe that this problem is solved somehow, that it's not really an issue anymore. But well before Refocus started, it was half of this number that it is today. So 31 million versus 3 billion, sorry. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, no point for you.
It's okay.
Second question went to Lionel, which was how many asylum seekers are there in the world? You said 5 million. And we'll definitely give you points if you get really, really close, or if it's like a heated battle, maybe we let you duke it out. But the right answer is 8.4 million. So you're on your way, but 8.4 versus 5 million is actually higher than you had predicted. I think we went to Stavros for forcibly displaced people. You said 10 million. Worldwide, 10 million. The answer is 123 million forcibly displaced in the world. That's an unbelievable number. This is just insane to me. When I read this, I fell out of the chair. It was like, what the hell? And Ziad, you said for people who are internally displaced, meaning they didn't leave their country, but they are not at home anymore, you said
100
100.
million.
And the internally displaced total is 73 million.
70.
So you were a little bit higher than it is. So 73 million. So unfortunately, nobody gets a point in this first round, but that's okay. Let's see if somebody scores a bonus point. The question was, which country has the most asylum claims, the most people trying to get protections? And Lionel, you said Germany. Ziad, you said
Canada.
Canada. Stavros,
Greece.
Greece. And Nicole?
Germany.
Germany. And the answer is, unfortunately, the answer is my country of origin, the United States.
United States.
Yeah. So,
I want to say.
but I'm gonna give a half a point to anyone who said Germany and anyone who said Canada, because they're in the top 4. So, congratulations. You know, you were like, oh, Germany. Ziad, Canada is in 3rd place. So you get a half a point. And Nicole, you got Germany as well, so half a point. Unfortunately, no half a point for Stavros because Greece is not in the top category. And but here's a chance for another bonus question. Which country is 2nd?
Italy.
Okay.
I
Stavros.
don't change my strategy.
Yeah, you're definitely staying in the buffer in the Mediterranean.
Second about what?
2nd in the same question, asylum seekers. So you said Germany, but they were actually 3rd. Who's in between the United States and Germany? There's a country in between that's required. That's more requests.
Canada.
You said Canada, but Canada actually was 4th. So unfortunately, no bonus for you, sir. You said Canada, but we've already said it was 4th. So who's 2nd?
I'm not sure if.
It's England.
No, it's Germany. Jesus. Germany.
Someone's in between Germany and America. It's not Germany.
UK.
Okay, so we got another guess as UK, but Nicole still has to guess and Zia still has to guess.
In Mexico.
Mexico
Maybe I will say UK too, because
and
you're right.
UK. So we are going to stay tied at a half a point, a half a point, and a half a point, and no points. Sorry, so not fully tied. But the answer is Egypt.
Egypt.
Egypt has 434,000 asylum claims.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe you guys can guess where they're coming from.
From
Yeah,
Syria.
from Sudan. I forgot about Sudan. What happened in Sudan last year? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
So we're naming a lot of different like kind of regional conflicts, but what is the closest conflict to Egypt right now that is really driving these numbers?
Syria.
Palestine, Gaza, and Sudan, and
Yep.
I think Syria too. But
It's
this is
actually
like a-
more people
it's
from
many.
Sudan, more people from Sudan than
Israel.
from Palestine because the majority of the Palestinians cannot get out
Yes.
and they're trapped inside this terrible situation. So they're just really not able to get through and the food can't get in. And so in our next episode and our previous episode, we really dive in deep on these issues. So check those out, and also same thing to the viewers. Okay, so that was the end of round 1. It's a dead heat. Half a point, half a point, half a point, and a goose egg so far for Stavros. Sorry. But we're going to follow it up and see if you can score some extra points here. So based off of your original question, let's bring the story to the EU specifically, right? Not worldwide anymore. Now we're going to talk about just Europe. And we're going to say which countries in the EU host the most refugees. Meaning the most refugees have already gotten protection and they're living inside this particular country. So,
Yeah, I would say Germany.
okay, so Ziad's going to go with Germany.
Germany.
Lionel is Germany, Germany, Germany.
Yes.
Sure, I mean.
It's there, I believe so. I know.
Okay. Stavros?
I will go for German too because
Okay, he's looking for points. He's like listening to the crowd now. Okay. What about you, Nicole?
I didn't understand the question.
Which European country, which EU country,
Yes.
hosts the most refugees? Meaning they've said yes to the most refugees.
Okay, Germany.
Okay, so right across the board, everyone's saying Germany. And since you guys are all such a chorus here, I will reveal the happy news for you guys that you all scored a point because it is Germany. 2.749 million
Since
hosted refugees in Germany.
since 2015 with Angela Merkel.
That started it, yeah. And so a lot of them still have that status, and so they're allowed to be. So again, to clarify for the viewers, the number is based off of who's currently in the country and being hosted, right? As in they have the refugee status and they still are in that country. Okay, so everybody got a point for Germany. But now here's a follow-up question. And the follow-up question is, we'll go with the Stavros first. He didn't get the point before, but now the question for everybody is, it's a yes or no question, is Greece in the top 10 for asylum claims?
Definitely.
So not hosting refugees, but asylum claims. How many people is Greece receiving the requests for protection?
No.
No? Lionel says no.
Top 10, no.
Stavros representing with a yes. Ziad, Nicole?
Can you repeat the question?
Is Greece in the top 10 of EU countries that are receiving asylum requests?
Okay, yes, maybe.
Okay, so Nico says yes.
And
Says
I will
yes.
make a balance and I say no.
Ah, look at this. And
Please, Doc, can you
Mhm.
clarify the question? Within this, within which year?
2024, just the 1 year. So Lionel says no. Ziad said no. And you guys both said yes. So the answer is yes. So Stavros, congratulations, you're on the board. You got a point,
Bravo.
but almost not, because they are 10th.
Mm.
You are 10th. Congratulations, you got that point. You squeezed in there like it's like you're getting a point in Formula One or something. You got 1 point, and you literally got 1 point, just like it's a race. So well done.
Even it was the first on the list, I still will have 1 point. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Okay, so we're gonna keep going with a couple more questions. And again, the real goal here is that our viewers are gonna get some extra information about what's really going on. And I think hopefully it's interesting for you guys as well. All right. Let's go to, let's stay in Europe. And let's say, let's just try this one more time. Is Greece in the top 10 in refugees hosted?
Livorno.
Meaning they are still living in Greece. They have refugee status and they're still living in Greece.
Yes.
So Lionel has shifted to say there are more people already here, but not as many coming. So now you say yes. Ziad?
I will say maybe no, because
What about you, Nico?
sorry, it's based on Europe only.
Well,
If
just Greece alone. Like, just how many people are with refugee status in Greece?
Yeah, top 10 from
Top
Europe
10 in the world.
on the world.
Mhm.
Yeah, I will keep it. No.
Oh,
Yeah,
so,
I
so
think
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Top 10 in Europe.
in Europe. for
top 10 in
sure, yeah.
Europe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So you have a yes. It's top 10 in Europe. Sorry, not the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So Ziad said yes. Nicole?
Yes.
Yes. And what about you, Stavros?
Yes.
So You are a man of conviction. And this time, unfortunately, you do not get the point. They did not score. They did not score enough. They came in 11th. So no point for you. And no point for Nicole. And no point for...
Everyone.
Yeah, you all lose that
because I
point.
changed
Okay.
my mind in the
So-
last minute.
We are going to have to take a very, very quick break. And when we come back, we're going to jump into a different category. But at the current standings, you have Stavros with 1 point. With 1. Nicole has 2.
Whoa.
Whoa.
You're getting the money.
Lionel, you had, let's see, you had a half a point before, right? Yeah, half a point, and you got a point for Germany, and you lost the other 2. So you have 1.5 points. So you are close. So we're going to put you in the middle. And then Ziad, where are you? Ziad also... You got a point. You had a half a point in the beginning. You got a point for Germany, and you didn't get the other 2. So you're also tied with Lionel at 1.5. So we're going to take a very quick break, and we'll be right back with the second half and see who triumphs. All right. Cool. Pause. All right. I know it's hot. Everyone run downstairs, get some AC, and we'll come right back, and we'll let the cameras cool off too. Hi, my name is Douglas Herman. I'm one of the co-founders of Refocus Media Labs, an organization that supports refugees and asylum seekers as they pursue careers as filmmakers and journalists. 5 years ago, on the Greek island of Lesbos, the Nouri refugee camp was burned to the ground over the course of 2 days. This is where all of our students were living, but not only as victims of the situation, but also as journalists working every day. Their ability to tell the story in real time was only possible because of the work that they were doing in the months that preceded it, so they were ready and capable of telling the story of such magnitude. The reports that they produced on those terrifying evenings became the foundation of Forensic Architecture's investigative report defense attorneys used to exonerate 6 Afghan boys who were wrongfully accused of the fires. Their work literally got these boys out of prison. This type of journalism is only possible because of support from individuals just like yourself. So please consider subscribing to our Patreon page or making a direct donation to our website. Without your support, these stories may never be told. Welcome back to the second half of our first Quizzo for DisInfo Watch, where we're dissecting the UNHCR numbers that were in their most recent report for 2024. And we're doing so with the wonderful guests from the Refocus Lab here in Athens, with Nicole, with Ziad, with Stavros, and with Lionel. So we're going to jump right back into it. But before we do, let's check the count. Nicole in the lead with 2 points, but right behind her, like it's a qualifying round in Formula One. 1.5 points for Lionel and Ziad. And Stavros scored that point. Again, scoring Greece, got Greece a point in this tournament. So it's pretty close, and it's anyone's chance to win. And this round is going to be a speed round of questions. And I'm going to show you some pictures to start, and we'll see if you can figure out. Well, it's not fair if I show you one picture and then I ask who's going to answer first and gets a point. So I'm going to let you know that this is someone named Ai Weiwei. Right, I'm going to hold the picture up. Right? Can anybody guess what country he's from?
Mongolia.
Chinese.
Lionel says China, Mongolia.
Yeah, around China maybe. Yeah.
Around China.
I mean.
Is around China north of
Asia,
China,
I
south
mean
of China,
Asia.
east of China, or west of China? Around China.
Maybe
Japanese.
Japanese, okay.
That,
So you said Japan. Lionel, you said Chinese. Stavros, you said Mongolian. And I'm going to say, Ziad, you said around China. I don't know if
Which
that...
is this country around China?
Yeah, what is this country around China? You want to pick a country around China? Because there's a lot of them. Clock's ticking. You got 5, 4, 3, 2,
Maybe
1.
I can say Alaska.
Alaska. Okay. So China, Alaska. All right. The correct answer is China. So Lionel gets a point. Now, did anybody else get it? No. So Lionel is getting ahead, right? Bonus on here. Question. Is he a refugee? Yes or no? And his face and his picture doesn't really determine anything. But is he a refugee?
No.
Lionel says no. Yep. Ziad, yes or no?
No. I would say no.
Okay. Stavros.
Yes.
Need.
Stavros says yes. And Nicole, refugee or no?
Actually, I don't know how I need to understand this.
Well, right now it's just a guess, I guess.
Okay, yes.
Okay, you got a yes. Okay, so the answer is no, he is not a refugee.
Nice.
He is a Chinese artist who has left the country for doing a lot of political work, but he is kind of connected with the refugee situation because he's made a lot of art and films related to the refugee situation. But many people mistake him for a refugee, and therefore that's why he's involved so much. But he's actually not a refugee. Okay, next one. This guy. Does anybody know who this guy is?
Greek.
Okay, so yeah, okay, so you think he's Greek.
Iran.
Iran, Greek, Iran.
Maybe Iran.
I'll give you his name. So we have 3 Irans and 1.
I don't know.
You said Greek, right?
Yeah, but
So nobody gets the point for that.
Turkey maybe.
Oh, so close. If you would have just said that first. He is from Turkey.
Yeah, he's from Kurdistan, I would say, but anyway.
He is from Turkey.
Iran to Turkey is not too far. It's not so far.
He is Kurdish as well, right?
He's
So
Kurdish.
I don't know if you guys would be a
He's
little
Iran.
quicker. Well, but he's
Yeah,
from
it's
Turkey. No, he's from
Iran
Turkey.
and Kurdish, they are border.
Well, Kurdish, what people call Kurdistan is actually many different little countries, and they're in multiple countries. So there's Kurds in Iraq and Syria and Turkey and Iran, predominantly these, and they're all kind of in a geographical area that's kind of touches each other, but they're very, very different. They speak languages that are different. They don't see themselves as united as one. They all kind of see themselves as all having their own little Kurdistan, but it's not really united. So, close, but no points. But can anybody tell me why he's famous?
He's like playing some instrument
You think he's a musician?
I thought that it was Öcalan, but
or singer.
probably Öcalan is much older.
I'll give you his name. His name is Hamdi Ulukaya. He is Kurdish. He's from Turkey. And he's very, very famous.
Here's or
He's-
singer.
It's
Singers don't look like this.
I don't know why Greek one can be. Or political.
he's from government.
Okay, so you think
He's a political man.
Definitely a left party.
okay. Ziad?
I think yeah, and related to party or like this domain. I mean, or
Well, I think Stavros is going to get really upset when I say that he is famous for yogurt, and he's not Greek. But there's a very famous yogurt company that it was based in the States that is this guy's creation. It's called Chobani. Has anyone ever heard of it?
Ah, no.
Yeah. So, follow-up question. Refugee, not a refugee? Because nobody scored any points yet on this guy.
I will say yes. refugee?
He is not a refugee.
No.
It will be yes, I think.
So Nicole says yes, and she gets a point, and Lionel gets a point. He is a refugee. And Ziad got a point too. So look at this. Here we go.
No.
Uh,
don't
He said yes.
No.
You said no? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I take that point back. Look, he's so honest. He's so honest. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 point. All right, we got 2 down. Let's move on to
Some actual famous.
this guy. I'll give you his name, and you may not know him. His name is Jan Koum. Jan
I don't
Koum.
I will say Syria, but now I'm going to go far east.
Jan Koum.
Jan, first name like John, right? Jan Koum.
Ian.
Koum.
Afghanistan.
You think Afghanistan?
Netherlands.
Can I check?
Mhm.
Please?
Nicole says the Netherlands. Lionel. Stavros is looking and
From Egypt.
Egypt. And Ziad.
I'm not sure Turkey or Iran.
Okay, so Turkey or Iran. Nobody gets the point. He's from Ukraine.
Yeah.
Oh, you couldn't see your own countryman in his eyes.
But
Terrible.
okay, it's Jan name.
Probably
can
he
be
got
okay.
roots from somewhere else.
Look, everyone's defending their answer. Okay, so no points there. Now the question is, refugee or not a refugee?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he is a refugee.
Stavros said yes.
Please.
3 yes, 1 no.
And Ziad,
Okay, no, I need to think a
Yes.
little bit.
you said yes.
Yeah.
I need
Stavros
to
said
think.
yes. Lionel said
I need to
yes.
think.
And I believe Nicole said no.
I need to think a little
You
bit.
said no. I think
What?
you said
Think.
no. It's 50-50.
Okay. No, refugee. Okay.
No refugee. Okay.
But
So,
he is.
Nicole gets the point
Whoa.
because everyone thinks he may be a refugee simply because he was from Ukraine. And at the time, his family left the former Soviet Republic at the time before it collapsed in the 90s. And he left, his family left to America for anti-Semitic persecution, but did not come to America as a refugee, just came as an immigrant. And here's your final bonus question with this gentleman. He has created something, he's a co-founder of something that you use all the time. You used it today.
We're using this now.
You used it today.
Now?
Not right now, no. But you used it today in relation to Refocus somehow.
Camera.
Not a camera, sorry. Nope.
Spotify.
Nope, not Spotify.
Telco business.
He's closer.
What is it, telco?
Telecommunication business. So, like WhatsApp that we use. That we use
This is
today,
an
definitely.
application. I don't
Maybe? I don't know.
If
You gotta
it's it's
take a
WhatsApp,
shot
I
at
have
it.
to- I have to take 3 points.
Ziad,
Radio or
you think it's radio?
but I think radio not like I use it every day. It's
150 years old.
She thinks she's gonna score points because she's looking at my computer screen, but I'm just tallying the points here, so
No.
it's nothing special
I
happening.
don't know. WhatsApp or Telegram?
Oh, so now it's WhatsApp or Telegram.
What's up?
I don't know. You say that we have used today.
We've used it
this.
today. Help
In
us.
refocus.
In
Maybe batteries.
Cameras, batteries,
Yeah, coming from
microphones,
China, it's
lights,
Japan too.
right?
Oh
No.
my
Okay, I'm gonna cut
God.
this off and I'm gonna say you get a half a point because you finally said WhatsApp or Telegram. And even though you answered incorrectly, you eventually get to the right answer, which is he's a co-founder of WhatsApp. So
Wow.
Stavros gets a point,
Only 1 point for this.
just 1 point because you
I found the
kind of
company itself.
yeah, but you thought he was from Afghanistan too. Like, come on. And you originally said Spotify, but I'll give you a point. I'll give you a point. And Nicole, you eventually kind of were half and half on there, saying
What's
WhatsApp or Telegram.
What's
So
for me?
yeah, but maybe it was influence. So, but we'll give her a half. Okay, so
Great
that's
we do
the-
things for young kids.
that's the end of that business. Now let's go to a new round, which is headlines. So I'm going to read you a headline, and you're going to tell me if it was true or a lie. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. The UN warns of 500 million African refugees heading to Europe. This was published in The Independent, which is a paper in the UK.
I didn't understand the question.
I'm reading a headline, and you have to tell me if it's true or a lie, or true or false.
Okay.
Like did it?
Yeah, the question, not question, the meaning of.
So the United Nations
Yeah.
warns that there's a 500 million African refugees coming to Europe. Now, for the context, there's only 470 million Europeans in
Which
the
year?
EU member states, 750
It's a
million when you add all the Council of
Lies.
Europe countries.
False. Yeah.
False.
Okay, false.
So Lionel says false.
Yeah.
Stavros,
False, it's a lie.
Yeah.
Ziad?
Same.
it's false.
Same.
And Nico,
Same, false.
false. You're all right. You all get a point. But it was published. Okay? People did read that. It was published. And it was a lie. Go independent. Wonderful.
It's not only the Greek media.
No. Okay, how about this one? We're going to go to Australia. 21,581 asylum seeker family visas were issued in Australia.
Truth.
So say 22,000. We'll just make it easier to understand. 22,000 family visas for asylum seekers were issued by the government of Australia.
It makes sense, so I will say it's true.
Yeah. Me too. I
Okay,
think
true.
it's look like logic. Maybe I would say yes.
Stavros says true. Ziad says true. What about you, Nicole?
True.
True. So, it was published, but it is a lie. Only 2,158 visas were issued by the Australian government when this article was written by ABC. But they published it as 21,581. So you could imagine the impact that that would have on a community thinking that that many people were coming when it's really, 10% of that. So nobody gets a point there. Okay, this one really recent. In Germany, there was a town called Magdeburg, and maybe you guys remember this, but in 2024, there was a car was driven into a Christmas market, and many people were killed. And this actually had a huge impact on the political election in Germany. And the article was Magdeburg car attack perpetuated by a Syrian refugee. That's the headline. Is that true or false?
Truth.
Repeat.
The car attack in Magdeburg, Germany, was done by a Syrian refugee.
Truth. He was a doctor. Even a doctor.
So Lionel says true. Stavros,
True.
Ziad,
I'm not sure if this on the same accident, but I think that guy from different I'm not like follow a lot of the news, but maybe I will say false.
Okay.
'Cause I
So
don't know.
Ziad says false, and Nicole?
True.
True. So Ziad, you get the point because while it was published,
But
he
it
is
was-
not from Syria and he was not a refugee.
It's from Saudi
He
Arabia,
was
right?
from Saudi Arabia
Yeah.
and he was already in the country for over a decade.
Mm.
And he did enter the country as a refugee, but decades prior. And the most interesting thing about the attack was that he had a manifesto that was centered around anti-Islamification. He, although he's from Saudi Arabia, was acting on behalf of Germany as if he didn't do something, all of Germany would become Islamified. So this was his motivation in his manifesto. But he was not Syrian, was not a refugee from Syria. Yet, still published. Okay, and let me show you. Okay, this one also really kind of unbelievable. And if you're paying attention to the news right now, you know that in Northern Ireland there are a lot of riots and a lot of terrible things happening to people. There are these anti-immigrant riots, and they're attacking houses and hotels and people, and they're burning down homes and smashing cars and and it's been going on for days. And all of it is like this mob riot, and it's very much targeted against people who are not Irish, right? Northern Irish or in the UK, right? So they're not UK citizens, right? So this is unfolding, and in this context, just a little while ago, the previous summer, you had an attack where a person tragically killed a bunch of little girls at a Taylor Swift dance party, summer camp in England, and immediately after the attack, it was published that it was a refugee from the Middle East who had done the crime, and it led to tons of similar attacks and riots and chaos and lots of damage and lots of people terrorized. And so the question was the person who did the attack, was he a refugee?
Where the accident happened?
It was in
Okay.
2024, August of 2024 in Southampton, which is in the UK.
Yeah, okay.
The headline says, "Video shows migrant arriving in Britain in 2024." This was the headline.
I will say no, because I think I'm talking on the same subject or accident happened before.
Nicole, Stavros, Lionel,
I will say yes.
you said he is a refugee.
Yes, too.
Stavros says yes, he's a refugee. Lionel says yes, he's a refugee. Nicole?
Okay, no.
And a no. So points to Ziad and to Nico because he was not a refugee.
I think he was from England.
He was born in England, and his family was of a Rwandan descent. So, but very quickly on social media, people like Andrew Tate and Tommy Robinson and all of these lunatics started saying his name was Ali, and that they gotta get them all out, and blah, 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 and all this chaos. And then all these lunatics showed up and started burning houses and attacking people and causing all sorts of damage and really, really creating a lot of violence. So again, the lies, the point of this category is to show you how the lies can actually bleed into our reality, and this disinformation is extremely toxic and very dangerous. So, nice points for Ziad. You got, in this round, you picked up 1, 2, 3 points. Big score for you, sir. 3. And Nico, you got 1 point. True. Lionel, no points there. Sorry. You got 1 point. And Stavros, no point. 1 point for Stavros. Okay. So with these kind of more playful categories out of the way, we got to get back to some serious biz and talk about some more statistics. And I'm just curious, we were talking about this in the person on the street interviews. we said, where are people coming from? Like, where are the number one sending countries? But I wanted to bring it back down to Greece. So now we're not talking about the EU, we're not talking about the world, we're talking about just Greece specifically. What is the number one group or the number one country that people are coming from when they come to Greece for asylum? Where are they from?
Syria.
Yes.
And
Then some
Nicole said Syria as well.
a lot of people from Kurdistan is here.
And Ziad and Lionel,
Syria.
also Syria. And Ziad,
Maybe Egypt.
Egypt. Okay. The answer for the current numbers from the UNHCR, as in currently right now in Greece, the Syrians are only represent 2.8% of the people coming to the country for asylum. That's a grand total of 279 people. That's it. So no points, no points, no points. Egypt, much, much closer to the top. So you were really close, but not the top. 21.9% are from Egypt. And no one got the correct answer, which is Afghanistan. And still, to this day, Afghans dominate this asylum process in Greece with 42% of the people. Okay, which of the following countries hosts the most refugees in Europe? Greece, Switzerland, or Belgium?
Belgium.
Belgium.
So Stavros says Belgium.
Switzerland.
Same.
Doesn't
Yeah,
make
I
any
think
sense.
Belgium.
Belgium. Sorry, Ziad. And you said Belgium as well.
Belgium.
What about you, Nicole?
Me too. Okay.
Belgium across the board. And the answer is Switzerland. Sorry.
Why? Where?
Yep.
There is
So-
no space
So
there.
Switzerland hosts 196,200 refugees as of the end of the UNHCR 2024 report. Belgium came in a close second of these three countries, not the total, but just of these three, with 183,600. And Greece, although everyone in our previous activity on the street said millions of refugees in Greece, they only host 116,500. Not a million, not 2 million, but 116,500 are hosted in Greece as of the end of 2024. When you add in all the new people, they're still in last place amongst these three countries. So no points. No points. Sorry. Okay. This is an interesting one. Maybe you can figure this out. 70%, 7 in 10, of all refugees worldwide come from just 5 countries in the world. This is an unbelievable number when you think about it. So almost all, like think about it, almost all the refugees in the world come from 5 countries. What are those countries?
Afghanistan,
We
Syria,
have to mention
Ukraine.
the Syria, Afghanistan, Somalia, Iran,
Ukraine, definitely Ukraine.
I don't think that.
Any guesses on you guys? I'm just letting this open. You guys can just talk and I'll give you the answers
Yeah.
at the end. And you get a point for everyone you get right.
We have to say 5, kind of.
Oh, you could say as many as you want, but there are 5.
Yeah. I
So
think
if you could say 5 and get them right, then
Yeah.
maybe you get 5 points and you win the game. Who knows?
I think Syria and Afghanistan, Turkey, Iran, Ukraine.
I said 4 and I don't know.
There is like a Mexico too.
Egypt hostes.
Egypt.
Hostes,
okay,
right?
yeah.
I
Right?
think
Yeah.
Syria, Pakistan, Iraq, Somalia, and Ethiopia.
maybe I will add Mexico. Yeah,
Getting interesting now, guys.
Mexico and Palestine.
My
Palestine.
question just disappeared. Okay. Nicole? I don't have you on the record yet.
I think Iran, Syria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Egypt.
Okay, and you already gave me some. Okay, so the answers are Syria, in this order. Syria, number 1. Ukraine, number 2. Sorry.
Really?
Afghanistan, number 3.
3 points.
An African country that starts with S, but it's not Somalia. Sorry. And it's very close to Ethiopia, but it is not Ethiopia.
Eritrea.
It is not Eritrea either, but
Sudan.
Sudan and
Yeah, Sudan.
South Sudan.
Mm.
So those are the 5 top countries that are sending, that basically people are fleeing these 5 major conflict zones. Super crazy. Okay, so with that said, I will officially crown Ziad the winner of this first DisInfo Quizzo. Well done. You get a battery, a camera, and anything that the guy from WhatsApp created. Okay, that's your prize. And actually, I'll let you leave the house first so that you can get some air conditioning after we leave this hot studio. But thank you so much for being part of the game, and hopefully you learned some things, and appreciate all of you. And just a very quick note that we would love to have some more of these episodes, and we would like more people to engage in the process. So if you have some questions about the UNHCR numbers, if you'd like to maybe weigh in on some of the data that we are referencing, and we're going to be continuing to have a lot of this commentary on our social media, we'd love for you to engage with it. So please check out the stories and the different posts we're going to be putting up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. And please get in touch if you have any questions, or if you have some topics that you'd like us to cover in upcoming episodes. So for now, until next week, we'll sign off, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
See you. Thank you.
Bye.
Cuts. That was fun.
It's hot. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.